The more I think about this, so basically what he's trying to say is that he wants to divert the residents to Buangkok instead of Sengkang, and he gave all of his reasons as to why. Because 114 isn't necessarily designed to be like the quickest link, right? So seeing as like they tried to do a similar thing, I mean, this was like a service that eventually got rejected, but what it was supposed to do is basically Congo Central, and just putting it like this so it's easier for you guys to actually see. They tried to pull this off, but obviously it got replaced with just an extension. And then I think they are trying to pull this off with create one as well. So as long as it's still within the planning zone, there is no rules stating that a feeder service is not able to serve more than one interchange. It's just that it wouldn't be bidirectional, it would be loop or something. And you can also think of it as like, okay, not really, but right now there is actually 265. I mean, like this one, I don't even know how you would say this, but I'm not even sure if this is like a good example of it, because this one is quite special in the sense that it has an interchange as the midpoint, and then this one is the actual terminal. So it kind of adds on to the fact that like there is no explicit rule banning feeder services from calling an interchange as part of its midpoint or serving more than one interchange in the case of this. So, you know, recently, the reason why they rejected this or stuff like that is because if you could do something with an existing service, which doesn't really change the purpose of said existing service, they would rather do it to the existing service as opposed to creating a completely new service just to fulfill a certain role, right? Like how they extended 114 just for more connectivity in general. Like 114 is more of like to bring people towards like Buangkok Link and Crescent, and at the same time Buangkok Interchange and MRT. But the problem is that, as what my commenter mentioned, it's not like the fastest or anything. It's more of like for connectivity. So if you guys want something fast, I could think of something. Because initially I was like, okay, why not you crayon, like let's say, the first idea obviously that I kind of thought about it as I read this comment, that comment is that, yeah, you know, maybe you could just crayon something from Buangkok, because it has to be fast, right? Like the intention is not to like throw one round or anything. It's like it has to be the fastest, like this. Or even alternatively, make it go like this, call the mosque outside, and then yeah, something like this. That's like the next option. Or if you wanted to build bus stops inside this small road, I forgot if like you're able to right turn like this at this junction, but if you wanted a route like this, it is entirely possible as well. So I was thinking like, what if you guys get this kind of bus service instead? And then touch Fernvale Mall, right, to Sengkang West Depot. But then again, this would run into the same problem as like 383 in the sense that like it's quite pointless. You could run at high frequency, but the demand has to be there. So I thought of something that It sounds stupid, but it's kind of like along the lines of like what LTA would realistically do. So eventually I decided on, okay, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So that you guys can see a bit more clearly. Okay. So obviously I am not touching 374's current route. Like this, I'm not touching this sector, I'm not touching this sector. So it's still going to do this, do this, do this, and do this. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give up this one stop, because it makes no sense for me to like extend in a way such that it does this. It really doesn't make much sense, because I'm not calling this area. So I'm just going to, if I draw it from here, like this, right? I'm keeping this part, making it bidirectional. Then I'll just make it loop one big round, like this. I know this kind of like duplicates LRT, but the thing is, you're trying to bridge these people to Buangkok, right? So just do this. Now, as I've said, like the reason why this road pretty much only has 163 is because over here it's the depot, and over here it's residential. Whereas when you look at 110, over here it's residential, over here it's residential as well. So obviously, what they were trying to do is to push people towards 110 if they're going to Buangkok, right? But obviously, if you live along closer to the LRT, you are kind of like away from 110 in a way. So based on what my commenter wants, I thought of this. Like logically speaking, you're not really gonna get any long distance trunk passing through here, at least in the near future, because right now they don't have the buses, they don't have the money, they don't have the manpower. Like there's a shortage of both buses and BCs as well. There's a shortage of like high capacity buses, be it double decker or bendy bus. There's a shortage of both. So yeah, this is what I came up with. Okay, this bus stop, unfortunately I have to skip it. And again, like this, like this, like this. And if you really want the quickest way, okay, I suggest just doing this. But if you want to give them mosque access, or to give them access to like just quick access to 156 without having to go to the interchange, or 109 or 159, blah 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 blah, you could choose. So let me know which one you actually prefer. The one that I labeled in green, it's for the mosque and for the hub spoke. The one in black basically is just a quick, it's just quick access, like entry into and exit out of Buangkok ITH. So it really depends on like what you want. So let me know which one you actually prefer. And keep in mind that this thing, it's still within, like everything I crayon is still within Sengkang's planning zone, which includes Buangkok. So I'm not making this a trunk or anything. This could still be called a feeder service. So you still have the 3.2 kilometer fare cap, which I think would attract people to actually use this bus service, and it would also justify this bus service having like bendies or so. Actually, if you were to use bendies, right, you would have to park the bendies at Buangkok instead of like Sengkang. So you would have to change the direction of the loop, kind of. So starting at Buangkok and looping at Sengkang, like however you do it, basically. Or if you don't want to use bendies, you're probably gonna have to run this service at like as like service 238, that kind of free. Okay, not really, but maybe you might want to use 265 265 or 268 as reference because I believe they are of like similar length. But I could be mistaken. When I see this, I just think of like 265 and 268 in terms of like length.